15 years since the firework disaster in Enschede, which took lives of 23 people and left 947 injured. On May 13th, year 2000, the firework warehouse exploded in Blood City. We'll interview people that were involved to hear their side of the story. It has been said that's the worst catastrophic explosion in European history.
Lara, then only 18 years of age, still distressed because she lost a child due to the explosion.
My life just hasn't been the same since I lost James. Because of the lack of competence of the SE fireworks, I was about to take him to his grandma's house. The explosion happened so unexpectedly. I heard the explosion and the next second I found myself in the remains of my house. James has not been found to this day, along with two other people. We lived about 20 kilometres away from the warehouse, and we didn't even know that they had fireworks in there.
Let's hear what Luke, who was a prosecutor in this case, has to say 15 years later.
Court in September 2002 for allegedly lighting the fire that ignited the fireworks. DeVries maintained his innocence, and his conviction was overturned in May 2003 due to a lack of evidence. He was also awarded €125,000. It's been 15 years now, and DeVries would have filled out his full sentence.
I don't think you can blame such a big disaster on one person. 15 years later, who does Luke think is at blame?
That's a difficult question, but in part, a lot of the blame could fall to the council for allowing the Enschede residential area of Reenbeck to grow around the fireworks depot. It was unsafe, which should never have happened. Another point to note was that the authorities were well aware that there was illegal fireworks being sold in large quantities and in shipping containers when a number of earthworks and other suitable safety measures were not installed. So I think a lot of blame can fall to both the owners of the fireworks factory and the local council.
Unfortunately, Willie Potter did not want to be filmed. We do although get to speak to his spokesman, Cameron. How does he feel about the disaster? How does he feel about Barker?
Well, it's public knowledge that Barker is still crusading against what he sees as a miscarriage of justice. But he keeps changing his tune. He blames the government, or firefighters, but mostly he blames Willie and some other staff members. According to him, they went to work that Saturday behind his back and lit some fireworks. There's no evidence to support this. He's just trying to deviate attention from himself. Of course he should feel responsible, and it's about time he takes part responsibility for this tragic disaster.
This makes me wonder, how does Willie Potter, who managed to avoid the 15-year sentence that Barker, who was the other co-owner of the SE fireworks, feel after all these years?
It is always wrong to defend yourself. It feels bad in front of all those victims. Willie doesn't want to add to their suffering. As co-owner of the company, he feels responsible. But he's not guilty. The fire, the disaster, it happened to him as well.
Rudy Barker, who served a 15-year prison sentence for environmental breaches, homicide, as well as illegally storing fireworks, agreed to speak to us. After all these years, he maintains his innocence. Not only that, he believes that Potter is equally at blame.
He says I have no evidence, but if he would do some more research, it can also be seen that my story has a large amount of followers. These followers include 2 former detectives that have investigated this disaster. I'm still working to this day to clear my name, and these detectives have helped me to reach this goal. I still maintain that I'm innocent. If you want someone to blame, look at Willie Pater, who's hiding behind his uneducated spokesman.
Fire crews were called from across the border to help battle the blaze. The explosion took life of 4 firefighters who fought bravely to save who they could. One of the firefighters, Victoria, was in charge of the team.
Around midday on Saturday the 13th, we received a call to our local depot regarding a fire in a warehouse in Enschede, which we thought held paper. Arriving on site, we soon discovered that this warehouse held a considerable amount of fireworks. The fire then spread and was so uncontrollable we had to call in backup from across the border in Germany. It took until the end of the day to get the fire under control, and 4 of my fellow servicemen sadly lost their lives in the blaze.
But what caused the rapid explosions and damages? What does Victoria think caused this tremendous catastrophe?
The main component within the fireworks was magnesium, which burns at extremely high temperatures. This causes water to split into its components and therefore adding fuel to the fire. This caused massive explosions and severe burns to the civilians. From a professional point of view, electrical sparking was always the most likely cause of the fire.
Bethan, who was a safety investigator at the time, can explain why did so many people live around the warehouse.
Initially, the warehouse was built on wasteland, far away from any housing estates. However, as the community surrounding the warehouse began to grow, the council required land to build new and cheap estates for people to live, and therefore decided to build around the warehouse.
Why wasn't the warehouse relocated?
The council were unwilling to pay for relocation, despite the fact they knew fine well this was a clear health and safety violation due to the quantity of explosive fireworks stored in the warehouse. It is believed that the fire was caused by an electrical fault, however this was never supported by hard evidence. We later found out around 180 tonnes of fireworks exploded that day. This was over 11 times the capacity the warehouse was built to store.
Why weren't the explosions contained or stopped by the safety measures? And why were the owners that got all the blame?
Another theory is that the internal fire doors in the central complex, which might have contained the fire, had been left open. Theoretically, an explosion which considered highly unlikely because the fireworks were stored in sealed bunkers specifically designed to minimise such risks. However, the illegal use of shipping containers reduced the safety at the site, particularly as they had been arranged closely together at ground level and had not been separated either by earthworks or other forms of partitioning. Due to the severity of the accident, someone had to be at blame. Both of the owners of the company completely ignored the fact that they stored too many fireworks, as well as neglecting basic safety procedures such as suitable storage containers and supervision.
Some say it was a spark, some say it was the staff playing with fireworks that caused the disaster. We will never find out. What we do know is that 23 people died and thousands were left homeless because of the lack of safety measures and precautions by the owners. If only they took time to ensure that excessive amounts were not stored in the warehouse as well as proper containers were installed, this all could have been avoided. Maybe the council didn't build housing estate around an extremely dangerous warehouse. All these people will be alive.